Hello again, this is Barry from Knitting for Love, and today we are going to go over how to do the garter stitch, which is knitting both sides, front and back. So basically you can tell it's all very rigid on both sides. I've already cast it on. I use the long tail method cast on because it actually fits well with this pattern. And we're going to go through how to knit both right-handed and left-handed. First, I'm going to use my right hand. So basically, I've already cast it on. I've already done several rows. So basically, what you're going to do is when you finish your cast on, and if you need to review cast on, you can see my previous video, casting on. And you can go there and check that out. But for now, we're going to go over the knit stitch. Now, as you can tell, that it has each stitch has a rod that comes down in the front, a little rope in the front. Those are the ones we're going into. They're on the back as well, but we're not knitting from the back stitch. We're going to knit from the front stitch. And I'm using my double pointed needles because it's easier and smaller for me to video with them and show you how to do this with them since it's just a small sample. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our needle, we're going to go in through there. And we're going to stab away from ourselves. If you find your knitting is too tight, you may pull it a little bit just to open it up. I like to hold my needles with one hand. I let go once I do this part. And then I take my yarn and I wrap it around my needle. Now, when I wrap it around my needle, I hold the yarn over here, but loosely, not tight. And as you can tell, you've got the yarn that we just wrapped. It's right here. It's sitting in between the two needles, and there's the hole that we just came out of. So basically, we're going to go back. We're going to come back where we started. And that's what it should look like. And then you're going to shift that one stitch off. I tell a lot of people, do not hold your knitting far apart because basically that's going to create a very big loop here and your knitting is going to be really, really, really loose. I've seen people actually sit here and tighten this completely. That makes this stitch way too tight. Do not pull on this too hard or else your tension is going to be really too tight and you're not going to enjoy your knitting. You're going to be fighting with it more than relaxing with it. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go in through this stitch and we're always going to come back out the same stitch we went in. You always come out the same hole you went in. So basically you're going to go in, hold your needles, wrap around, and pull it back through. And then off, and then scoot this one off. Now I have two stitches. Now I'm going to tighten it just a little bit because I still need to be able to pinch under there. And as you can tell, I'm working not very close to the ends, but close enough. You see this little edge right here? This is a little cutoff point. If you knit only here, your stitches are going to be too tight once they get onto the actual main portion of the needle. This is the size of your stitches. They should not be small, tiny little stitches like right here. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go in, make an X, wrap it, pull it through, and slide that one off. And now I've got 3 stitches transferred. And now you see my knitting is very loose. I can slide this back and forth. I can slide this back and forth. I can actually slide the needle. If you're having trouble with this, it means your knitting is too tight and you see the V coming out of there. And let's see, get a close-up on that. You see how that's open. That shows that you have not pulled off of this stitch yet. So basically, you don't want to go back in and knit it again, because then you're going to increase your stitches. And that's a video for another time, is how to increase and decrease. So I'm going to do this really up close. So I'm going to go in, pull, make sure I'm in there, wrap it, make sure that my stitches are even, come through, and there it is again, that little, like 2 little heart, makes a heart shape almost, and slip off. So now I'm going to finish this and show you how to do this same stitch in left hand, starting from the beginning of the row. Now, once you get to the end of this row, you need to knit that last stitch and switch hands, and then keep working from there. And there you have it. It's another row done. If you are left-handed, then you're going to hold the work in this hand. And what you're going to do is you're going to go into this stitch, same as before, wrap it. See how I have that little yarn right there in between? And I like to do is I like to use this needle and to bring it back through, and there it is again. There's a little heart. And then you slip it off. And so we're going to do it again. We're going to come this way. And if you want to hold your stitches so they don't slide, this is the reason why I suggest new people will have wooden stitches. Now, sometimes you may not be able to see that, but that extra yarn is right here. And I'm not holding it very tight, so it is very loose and can slip off. Sometimes I like to use the needles itself to help guide that stitch off of there. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go in through here. And as you can tell, I'm pulling, so that made this stitch too tight. And I'm going to knit this stitch. And I'm going to wrap it and pull it through and off. And we're going to do it again. So we're going to come in through the back, make sure that's an X, wrap it, pull it back through, there's your heart, and pull it off. And that's how you would knit left-handed, if you are a left-handed knitter. And you would do the same thing. You would work to the end of the row. And as you can tell, I am pulling it just a little enough. And then I'm pulling it down just to make sure I have enough loose tension on it. Now, if you find you will get your tension as you go, I've been knitting for a very long time. And if you still find that your tension is still not loose or it's uneven, you may want to try to get a second set of knitting needles one size larger. Knit with one, example, a 7 and an 8. If you find this video informative, please like and subscribe. Happy knitting. See you later.